Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and this is how to use Lumineon. So with Lumineon, we don't have the greatest base stats. That 91 is going to be our single highest base stat, and that's not too insane. Also, it is in the speed. It's not like we have a really tricky kind of defensive setup or anything. By that, we have 86 on the special defense, 76 on the defense, and 69 on the hit points, which means we're okay if we fully invest into tankiness. But offensively, we only have 69 attack and 69 special attack. 69. Anyway, if we go and we look at its typing, it's going to be a pure water typing, which actually works out really well. Pure water typing being very strong, only a 2x weakness to grass and a 2x weakness to electric. That is it. Also, Lumineon does have the Storm Drain ability, so technically a water immunity if you are playing that set, and then we also have a lot of resistances. So it's going to be a very consistent typing for helping out with stall and working around that way, so Lumineon can pull through pretty well. So hopping into Pokemon Showdown, we're going to see that Lumineon is an interesting Pokemon to use, but it is as tanky as a Pachirisu. That we already know that Pachirisu is a proven world champion. It can do all sorts of crazy things, but it only has 60 base hit points and 70 and 90 on the defenses. So when we compare that with Lumineon, on a full tank investment, we know we're going to be able to endure some hits, and while it's not enough to really fight on our own in a single battle, we do have a lot of supportive qualities in a double battle, and that means we know we can take super effective hits, we can take some decent hits overall, and we can just really try to be a great support. So with that, I'm thinking Tailwind. Lumineon, for a Water-type Pokemon, actually gets Tailwind, which means you can go and throw out the Tailwind and start playing around it like that you get the speed boost. So when we double that 111 speed at level 50, it actually means we're going to be faster than a lot of Pokemon. So then we just throw out the Charm. It lowers the target's attack by 2, which means the first time you use it, it's going to cut your target's attack in half, and that could be just a really great thing to start up with. Or if you have a contrary Pokemon on your team, you charm them and their attack doubles, and now they're under Tailwind, so they get a lot of damage, and that could be a nice little fun thing to try out. Also, you have Attract. That we've seen Attract is actually one of the more broken moves in the game, just because if the opponent is of an opposite gender, and most likely the opponent is going to be male, you just go and destroy them, and we've seen this happen on multiple Fan Friday occasions, and it's something that's actually proving to be a lot stronger than people expect. So with that speed boost, you see a male Pokemon on the team if you're running a female Lumineon, and they just go, alright, I see what you're doing there, boom, get attracted, and then if they try to focus on you as a support Pokemon, you are bringing a lot of threats, so if they try to focus onto you, they could lose their turn entirely, and then your ally just keeps going for crazy amounts of damage, and then Scald. Now here's where things get weird, because with Scald, you're not going to get the most out of it in a way, because if you're charming the opponent and then you burn the opponent with Scald, they're already not doing too much physical damage, so you're really just doubling down and not getting like full effectiveness out of your team. But at the same time, with Storm Drain, if you have a Pokemon on your side of the field or the opponent's Pokemon using like Scald or Surf, you actually gain a lot of damage from this. So it draws in water moves to yourself, and then it makes it to where you gain special attack off of it. So now you're throwing out a Scald that's going to be stab and have a little bit of special attack boosting, while 89, and then let's see if we go up to level 100, just to kind of show the differences of stats. 174, unboosted, that's not going to be a lot, but still after special attack boost, it's going to be a decent amount of chip damage, and as a support Pokemon, dealing damage is pretty good. And with Storm Drain, if you don't want a Pokemon on your side of the field getting Scald burned or anything, having Storm Drain is going to be very, very nice to just kind of suck in those moves, or at least keep your Pokemon safe from any kind of super effective hits. Now, Storm Drain will not protect you from moves like Surf and Muddy Water that hit more than one target, so that's kind of the only thing to worry about, but mainly if you're focusing on like Hydro Pump and Scald, it can do a lot of work for your team. But at the same time, Lumineon also gets Swift Swim, so you can also change around your team dynamic. If you want to have Lumineon be a Rain Dance Pokemon, it can bring the rain, double its own speed, and if your ally gets some kind of benefit in rain or just wants the extra damage on their attacks, that could be pretty good as well. So here's where things get interesting again. In rain, water-type moves are improved by 50%, so it's 1.5 times damage. Storm Drain, plus 1 special attack is 1.5 times damage. So in the end, they're accomplishing the same things, it's just that one is going to be a Tailwind field condition and the other one's going to be a Rain field condition, depending on which one you want to work with. So however you see Lumineon as a support on your team, you can just kind of run it that way. As for a little more breakdown with the natures and stuff, it's Calm Nature, not going full investment into defense because we are using Charm and potentially Scald. If you don't want to use Scald, you can just bring like Toxic, try to Toxic them down a bit, get that damage over time. If 2 of your opponent's Pokemon are Toxic and you can maybe stall it out a bit, that can actually do a lot of work, especially if they're trying to hit you, Attract kicks in, and then you're charming them and they're not doing damage. That could be pretty ridiculous. The other Lumineon set I was thinking was for singles, that if we just kind of trap them with Attract, Swagger, and Whirlpool, it might lead to some really funny things. So with this set, I was just thinking Calm Nature, max hit points, max defense. You tend to see more physical Pokemon, and then it's pretty much what I said, that you try to set up an Attract. So make sure you come in on a male Pokemon, use that Attract. If they think that they can attack through it because you're just a Lumineon and you're not threatening, use Whirlpool. After that, now they're stuck in, they're attracted to you, and you just throw out a Swagger. So you throw out the Swagger, they have a 50% chance to hit themselves in confusion and do a lot of damage, or they have a 50% chance of not doing any damage from Attract, then they're taking damage over time with the Whirlpool. So instead of Swag Play, we have Swag Pool as something, and then you just use Protect. So you use Protect, they might get an attack off, but then you're protecting, or they just hit themselves in confusion and take Whirlpool damage. I think it's pretty win-win. Protect with Leftovers is pretty much going to be your only sustain, and that's kind of it with Lumineon. The only other thing I was thinking about is like you max out hit points, you max out special attack, and then you go for a Modest Nature, and then you run something like a Salac Berry. Salac Berry is going to raise your speed when you drop below a quarter hit points. With this level of tankiness, you might survive in the red, and then from there you just kind of play off of really Storm Drain. Switch in on a water type move, get that special attack boost. Now your special attack is going to be relatively strong with the Salac Berry proccing. After they try to damage you, you just go for offensive moves. You get moves like Ice Beam, you get moves like Scald, and then you can just kind of play around those moves a little better. So that was really the only other thing I was thinking about for Lumineon. I don't know the rest of its coverage. It does get Silver Wind. So if like maybe you use that one turn to use Silver Wind, and Silver Wind is interesting because it works like Ominous Wind, 10% chance to raise all of your stats by 1. While it is low odds, you're going to be anticipating just taking damage. So it's like, okay, use Silver Wind, 10% chance that really good stuff happens, because now you could be at potentially +2 special attack, you gain extra speed, some defenses, so you get a little tankier, and then you can just kind of play it out from there. Maybe a Hidden Power Fire could combo in really well, and you don't really get too much else. Yeah, there's not too much else that Lumineon gets for coverage. Maybe you just throw in the Attract for lulz. That way, they bring in a male Pokemon, you just go for the Attract, and then if they end up being immobilized by Love, because True Love is the strongest power in the game, you just use Scald and Ice Beam and kill them. I think that that's pretty fair right there. So if you guys enjoyed this video, that's how you use Lumineon. I hope you all have a nice day.